Hello, everyone. This is Susan Martin from Bauer Center for the Arts, and you're listening to the Behind the Bauer podcast. Our show offers inspiring conversations, a fresh look at arts in our community, provides spotlights on artists, performers, collaborative partners, educators, and organizations. We want to celebrate the universal expression of human experiences through arts, culture, and our community. We have a full room today. I'm so excited. We're talking with John, Brian, and Tom, all whom are either writers and or artists and are members of the Right Now group, which meets on the third Thursday of each month at Bauer Center for the Arts. And just a little background on the Right Now group, it supports area writers and their writing and seeks to offer a positive and supportive environment that offers participants encouragement and assortment of tools of the trade. So I want to say good morning and welcome to everyone.
Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for joining me. So we always like to start out and let our listeners learn a little bit more about each of you. So if we want to take turns and go around the table and tell us a little bit about yourself. John, you want to start us off?
Well, we have lived in Bedford for almost 12 years now. When we first arrived online, I found there was a writers group and started attending, and it was just such a comfortable group. I've been in a writers group before, and it wasn't as comfortable.
Yeah.
But over the years, we've gained people, lost people, and always tried to maintain that feeling that we're just kind of a Bedford social group of people that are interested in writing, but it's not focused on critiquing, and there are writers groups that are bloodthirsty.
Yeah.
We're not one of those. We tend to be pretty relaxed and comfortable and encouraging.
Right.
You know, I think that's the most important thing. Writing is a very difficult thing to do and usually gets done all alone.
Mm-hmm.
And to talk about it and have an outlet where you can say, geez, I ran into a problem the other day. Anybody ever had this? Makes for some really stimulating conversations.
Right.
But it's always in a positive. So I've enjoyed it. We lost some people, and we've tried very hard to keep it going. And we have people like Tom drive out from Lynchburg to be part of this group, and that makes me feel like we're doing something right.
That's awesome. Well, you mentioned Tom. Tom, tell us a little bit about yourself and what got you involved in the writers group.
You know, I wrote a lot professionally in network news, and then when I got too old to do news, I got into. I used to refer to myself as a baloney salesman because I got into advertising. Which, and there's no bigger movers of baloney than advertising. But I'd always been interested in fiction, and especially short stories, and I wrote that. Wrote that medium. In that medium. And, but one of the things I ran across in Writer's Digest actually was a writer, Lawrence Block, who was he wrote his Matt Scudder series, A Private Eye. I've always wanted to write crime fiction about a private eye. And one of his suggestions that if you're going to be a writer is you do three things. You read the stuff you want to write, the same time, so, if you want to write about PIs, start reading crime fiction. The other thing was to go to a conference once a year. And then the other thing was that he suggested was join a writers group. So when, I saw Right Now and that they met once a month, it was doable.
Right.
It was kind of a doable thing for me. And so that's why I, joined Right Now.
Yeah. So I see Brian over here doing some sketching. He's an artist of the group. So tell us a little bit more about yourself and what brought you to a writers group as an artist.
All right. Well, unlike the other two here, I've been a long time Bedford resident. I was born and bred in these parts, and my family has a long history here in these parts. And so I'm very much connected to Bedford by blood. So I've spent most of my life here as well. I went out of state for a spell for college. I went out to University of Kentucky for a few years and graduated from there. And then I went to the Air Force shortly afterwards and hopped around the country for 5 to 10 years. I was 5 years active duty, and then for another 5 years or so, I kind of hung around, just traveled on my own, and enjoyed living the bachelor life. But eventually, I found my way back here in Bedford again, and when shortly after moving back to Bedford again, I kind of recalibrated my life and devoted my time and energy to becoming an artist. And so I didn't originally set out to be a writer, but I wanted to get my artwork out into the world somehow and get some publicity for myself. And whether by hindsight or not, I decided to take up blogging. Now, I figured blogging would probably be an excellent medium to get my artwork out there.
Right.
And if you're going to make any inroads in blogging, then have any success whatsoever with blogging, it's natural you have to learn how to write.
Right.
And so that's what originally kicked off my desire to improve my writing skills. And so from then on, I started seeking out writers groups and writers, and as well as artists and all to kind of pal around with and pick up techniques and ideas and just to kind of get my writing mojo going. And that's eventually how I found Bedford right now. And became a part of some years ago. And it's I've been keep coming back and on. It's a swell group.
That's awesome. Yeah. About how many people come regularly to the group? Anybody?
4, 5, 6. We've had as many as 13 and as few as 3. So we've got about a half a dozen really solid people we count on every month.
Right.
And, people come and go.
Yeah. Tell our listeners a little bit more about if someone participated, what could they expect at the meeting or at meeting with the group?
Yeah, well, basically come in, sit down, get comfortable. We'll talk a little bit about what's going on around. There's a huge writers' conference at Hollins University in January, and I try to keep people informed about that so you can sign up before it's filled up. Virginia Festival of the Book in Charlottesville, and there's a lot. I don't think most people are aware how many really bestseller, well-known writers live right in this immediate area.
Right.
And we try to make them aware, and these are real people. You can walk up and talk with them.
Right.
So, but then we do. We don't ask people to bring something they've written, but we encourage it. That give us an idea of what you write. So come in and read 2-3 pages, and some people ask for a little bit of critique, and other people just want to get that out and see how people react to it. One of the things that I found unique here is that some of us are a little bit older. There's a tendency to write about the good old days for your grandchildren and hand it on to the grandchildren. And that's fascinating.
Right.
Poor Ernie Hauser couldn't be here today, but she's just recently turned 88 years old and is writing a lot for her grandchildren. It's fascinating. She was brought up on a farm in West Virginia. And she makes a big point. She actually reads this stuff to her grandchildren, and they can't imagine. you didn't have electricity. You
Right.
didn't have a flush toilet. You didn't have a telephone.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God, television. And that's kind of fun to look at how life actually was able to carry on without all those things.
Right, exactly. It's funny that you mentioned that because I was just actually thinking about this morning. I am a grandmother now of two, and I was just reading something this morning about starting to write and leave things similar to that for your grandchildren. And
Mhm.
I think it's a wonderful idea. I had a lot of opportunity with my own grandparents to spend time with them. And even as I became a young adult, learn more about, I mean, you always heard the stories and I lived some of it growing up, but again, going back and hearing those things, and I'm want to carry that on through my kids, but then also through my grandkids as well. And as you mentioned, I mean, there we talk about how, and this is a little off topic, but how some individuals, the changes and the growth and things that they went through, coming from a one-room house with no running water and a toilet to then still living into the computer era and cell phones and things like that. I don't think any other generation's ever going to experience, in my mind, those kind of changes through their lifetime, and being able to capture that and share that with your family, I think is extremely important.
Yeah, our generation has been subjected to more changes and history
Hmm.
than any other generation before. One of these days, you might find a book on the market, maybe, that kind of goes against Tom Brokaw and his greatest generation. I think ours is even greater.
Hmm.
Just growing up under the threat of a mushroom cloud, but there's been so much history and
Right.
so much done. I think we cannot allow people to sell us short.
Well, I think we heard it here. We'll be expecting that book to come.
Don't hold your breath, but it's in the works.
Well, tell me, anybody else jump in a little bit about what you're currently working on? I know, Brian, you said blogging. So where can listeners find your blog and follow you?
Well, I have a couple of blogs, actually. My main blog, you can check me out at www.brianskinnell.com. And my Brian is the variety that's spelled with a Y, Bryan. And my last name is spelled Skinnell. I also have another kind of artsy blog, brianskinnell.org,
Mhm.
which I showcase my ink work mostly. But yeah, brianskinnell.com is the most developed work so far and probably the more interesting of the two. As far as other pet projects go, I am hip deep in all sorts of mischief right now. So right now, I have one book idea I'm kicking around. There's Voltaire's classic called Candid, a book I have loved for years and years, and something which I would like to illustrate and turn into a graphic novel.
Mhm.
And it's I've never done a graphic novel before. I think it'd be a lot of fun. And with that particular book, nobody has tried it as yet, not to illustrate it.
Mhm.
So I would like to get my spin on it, and I hope by going through the ropes, not illustrating that classic, it'll help me cut my teeth and learn the ropes to make a good graphic novel. How to illustrate it, and all the minutiae to making a graphic novel, as well as how to get the thing published, and and that whole end of things too.
Right.
And I also have another pet project too, kind of more of an art project than a writing project per se, but it'll involve a good bit of writing. And that's to develop another website here devoted to Bedford, which I call I Love Bedford, Virginia.
Mhm.
And that website will pretty much showcase Bedford for out of towners. Showcase places to see, places to visit, motels, places to eat, and things to do here while you're in town.
Right.
As I say, it's mostly geared to out of towners, and of course, it'll take some writing skills not to adequately do justice to each of the showcase spots here in Bedford, such as the memorial and the visitor center and various restaurants here in town. And
Right.
you don't want to do a half baked job on that.
Yeah.
You really want to sell the town.
Right.
And I also want to include my artwork too, and all my paintings and all paintings of various scenery here in town, and as well as the pieces in which I'm showcasing here on my website, as opposed to just snapping a ordinary photo.
Right.
Bedford's a pretty artsy town anyway, and using my art, I think will help kind of showcase that and kind of give the artsy vibe, and hopefully probably distinguish my website from all the others.
Right. That's awesome. And Tom, I know it was mentioned you were talking about your area of interest for your writing, and I'm told that you're working on your first novel. Is that correct?
I am.
Awesome. Yeah.
One of the pieces of homework from this Writer's Digest article was to go to a conference, and last September went to a conference, and one of the I guess because they're run by publishers, one of the things you could do was submit a short story.
Mhm.
And on the strength of a short story, I got an offer to submit a manuscript.
That's awesome.
And I said, well, I don't have a manuscript. And,
Right.
And, it was funny because I'd never been to a conference before. I was just, this hickey kind of I had this hickey kind of approach to this conference, and it was funny and it was encouraging. But anyway, I asked the publisher lady, what are you looking for? Is there, because I thought, well, I'm not a novel writer, but I could write short stories. And,
Right.
I said, how many stories are you looking for? Or how many words? And she said, well, you can, the amount of stories don't matter as much, but we're looking for 70 or 80,000 words.
Wow.
I was like, bloody hell, 70,000 words. I'm used to writing 5,000 words. But the more I talked about her, and also read a very good book. It's called Story Architecture. And I brought that to the group one time. And that was a good guideline for how to construct a novel.
Mm-hmm.
And from the information that was in that, I thought, I think I can write something
Mm-hmm.
that's that long. The other thing that a conference did for me, because I'd never been to one, and I think it's a good idea if you've never been to go, is there was a barometer there for the interest in certain types of writing.
Mm-hmm.
Like I was really interested in crime fiction, but it's like, is anybody reading that anymore? There were tons of guys there. And of course, the breakout sessions and the conferences were, the speakers were published authors.
Right.
So there's lots of, there was lots of information there. And something funny that I found out was apparently there's a huge market for YA writing,
Mm-hmm.
young adult.
Right.
And, that's not something I'm interested in. But the other one is fantasy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's gigantic. And
Yeah.
one of the speakers, when she got up, she said, well, I write a series of books about a dysfunctional vampire family.
Mm-hmm.
And I looked around and nobody was laughing or smirking.
No.
And I thought, dysfunctional vampire family, they're killers.
You're right.
I mean, of course they're dysfunctional. But, and I even asked my table mates at lunch, I said, did you? Oh, well, yeah, and they was like, they didn't think it was weird at all. But if you want to write something, I mean, there are so many markets out there.
Right.
And if you don't go for any other reason, go to see the scope
Right.
of stuff that people are interested in.
Right.
And another one that I found particularly interesting was there's also no circa mandate. If you want to write about, there's a published author there that wrote a crime novel about World War II.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, it's like, and so I was able to find out all these things.
Right.
And my story takes place in the 80s,
Mm-hmm.
which was kind of it was kind of the last interesting detective decade because there's no cell phones, no computers.
Right.
No, he uses a payphone.
Right. Yeah.
And but anyway, so
Awesome.
I'm pro conference.
Awesome. Well, this information is great. And if anybody's interested, they can discuss more of these opportunities at the Right Now group, correct? Where you all share the information. So I think it's amazing.
Yeah, we'd welcome you.
Okay.
The one point I'd like to make, Susan, is we're talking here about doing books and podcasts and everything. There are a lot of people who write a little and don't ever expect anybody to see it. It's a very private thing. And they're welcome to come in and talk about the actual process of writing. You don't have to be published
Right.
to come in, sit down, and chat with us. And we really encourage that.
Well, I think that's extremely important. And to mention that it's all ages are welcome. And you mentioned, it could be that they are writing poetry, could be music. I think it could be, any form of writing that they can feel comfortable in coming to the group, sharing if they want, but if not, and then also have the opportunity to meet some great folks, build some connections and relationships, and learn new ideas.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
awesome.
exactly the point.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate all three of you joining me here this morning. I think we could talk for an hour or more because this is so interesting. And I think maybe we'll have you guys back or have some other folks come in and join us and talk more about what's going on with the Right Now group. I want to remind all of our listeners, you all are meeting, correct, on the third Thursday.
Right.
So that's coming up this week.
Yep.
And you're now meeting at 6, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, 6:00 at Bauer Center for the Arts. If anybody, it is posted, it's on our calendar of events on our website. And the contact information, if they have any questions, they can reach out to you, correct, John?
Right.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yep.
But there's no advanced registration necessary. You just show up and,
No, there's no formalities whatsoever.
Awesome. Yeah. Well, we're, again, I'm very excited to have the opportunity to finally have you guys on the show and talk to our listeners more about the group. As I'm wrapping up, I always like to remind our listeners that we have a lot of great opportunities going on at Bauer Center for the Arts, including meetings like the Right Now group. There are other organizations and groups that are meeting, and you can see those on our website as well. And then we have lots of events, concerts, performances, classes taking place. A couple things I want to mention is that our fall classes are now enrolling, so please check those out on our website. Tickets are on sale. October 5th, we have our Night of Laughs at the Bauer, which is a comedy show. And I think that it's going to be clean, family friendly. And I think that, bring the family out. I think you'll really enjoy it. We also have tickets on sale for our annual fundraising event in October on the 19th, which is the Art of Pairing, and we're pairing bourbon and blues this year with art. So that's always a sellout event for us, so be sure and get your tickets on that. And then as a reminder, visit BauerCenter.org to register for all of our classes, performances, events. You can actually see our exhibits online. We welcome you to come and see them in person. Gallery admission is always free. And once again, I want to thank you guys for joining me. Please check out the Right Now group meeting coming up this Thursday, and more information's on our website as well. So this has been Behind the Bauer. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you.